Excerpt 1. Breaking Barriers. Dorothy Vaughan and her husband saw each other on holidays and occasional weekends. They added 2 more children to their family, and for the younger ones, Newsom Park was the only home they knew. Dorothy loved staying home to take care of the new babies, but there was never a question that she would return to work as soon as possible after the children were old enough to stay with a babysitter. Dorothy's job at Langley provided the economic stability for the family. While Dorothy and her children missed their family back in Farmville, friends from the West Computing office filled the void left by aunts and uncles and cousins. The group from West Computing began a summertime tradition of organizing a picnic at Log Cabin Beach, a wooded resort overlooking the James River, a segregated beach built exclusively for Black people. Dorothy preferred Log Cabin Beach to Bayshore Beach in Hampton, where a rope divided Bayshore from whites-only Buckrow Beach next door. At Log Cabin, Black families were able to enjoy being outside without colored signs to remind them of their place. Dorothy earned a good salary, $2,400 a year, twice the average monthly wage for Black women in the 1940s. When the laboratory opened on a 24-hour schedule during the war, Dorothy had worked the 3 o'clock p.m. to 11 o'clock p.m. shift, taking care of her family by day and crunching numbers at night. Most of the other West computers also decided to keep their jobs. The section had outgrown its original room in the warehouse building, and in 1945 they moved to 2 spacious offices on the first floor of the newly built Aircraft Loads Division building. But providing for the needs of 6 children meant that vacations didn't come along often. Dorothy was frugal. She sewed clothes for herself and her children, clipped coupons, and wore shoes until her feet pushed through the worn soles. She sacrificed for her children. Many evenings, Dorothy came home from work and made dinner for the family. After putting the meal on the table, she walked around the block until the children were done eating. She then ate only the leftovers. She didn't want to eat before she knew that her little ones had eaten all that they needed. Excerpt 2. The Section Leader. Dorothy Vaughan was an excellent leader within the West Area Computing Pool. In 1947, one of her bosses got sick and was out of the office for a month. The next year, the boss fell ill again. Then, in early 1949, Dorothy's boss began to act strangely at work. She suffered a mental breakdown and was forced to leave her job. This tragic incident left the computing pool without a leader. But the engineers of the laboratory decided to choose Dorothy to be the temporary head of the entire section. This was the first time an African-American woman had been assigned a management role at Langley. At the time, it was unthinkable for a man to report to a woman. Men were always ultimately the people in charge. Women who had an interest in management were limited to heading a section in one of the computing pools or a division with female workers, but they always reported to a man. For Dorothy, the new job was a lot like being the head of a high school classroom and reporting to a principal who was usually a man. It would take Dorothy Vaughan 2 years to earn the full title of section head. The men she worked for held her in limbo. The laboratory had never had a Black supervisor before, and they may have delayed making what seemed like a groundbreaking decision. Dorothy, however, was patient. Her promotion was made official when a memo circulated in January 1951. Effective this date, Dorothy J. Vaughan, who has been acting head of West Area Computers Unit, is hereby appointed head of that unit. Dorothy took on the new responsibilities with confidence. Many of the women in West Computing knew she was the best candidate, and so did many engineers. In time, her bosses realized it too. History would prove them all right. There was no one better qualified for the job than Dorothy Vaughan.